Hello there, it's Zach, and this is the first week of December, and even though it's almost winter, it's a beautiful weekend here in the southeast. I'm hiking the Terrapin Mountain Trail in Jefferson National Forest, Virginia, and it's going to be sunny all day, highs in the 50s. Hardly any wind, so I should get some excellent views from the top. Surprisingly, I haven't hiked in 2 months, not since my trip to Idaho in September. I've just been consumed with playing soccer, watching football on the weekends. There's also been a lot of rainy weekends this fall, which usually discourages me. But I'm glad to be back out here. I never heard of this mountain or this trail until I recently saw a video by Smelling Roses, who did an out and back from the same trailhead to the top. But I found online that a half marathon commonly uses this loop, and I'm getting up to the loop right now. Now, judging by this sign, the loop could be 11 or 12 miles, but I think the sign's wrong. The half marathon used the entire loop online and also a couple out and backs. So I really think it's probably 10 miles total. But I'm going to head to the summit first and then loop back around on Reed Creek and then a forest road. And should be a good trip. I'm breathing pretty hard already. From the video Smell Roses posted, he said it was a steep trail with no switchbacks. And so far, it's been a moderate forest road grade uphill that was pretty tiring, and then now this is getting a lot steeper. Looking north primarily. Let me get up on these rocks. Basically a 180-degree panorama west northeast. Over here you can see in the distance that white dome structure. It's the FAA Radome on top of Apple Orchard Mountain, which is the highest point of the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, and I think it's probably the highest Blue Ridge peak in Virginia, because they're not that big. I don't think the Iron Mountains with Mount Rogers is part of the Blue Ridge range, and it's around, I think, 4,200 feet. It's hard to really tell because it's hidden behind these other ridges. I think straight ahead is Thunder Ridge, and then down here is the Hunting Creek Basin, and then over this way is some of the peaks of the James River Face Wilderness. I think straight ahead, not the one closest to me, but dead center, is Highcock Knob. I'm not sure. Or it's Rocky Row on the north side of the James River. But I'm carrying the National Geographic map, which is 1 in 75,000 scale. And it doesn't really list any of the peaks around this area other than Terrapin Mountain and Apple Orchard. But it's still a really nice view. I don't know how far I am from the top, maybe half a mile. I thought the tough climbing was relatively done when I reached that first overlook, but it kept climbing pretty steeply to a false summit. Thought it was the real summit. It actually goes by this. I saw a faint trail that did a 180 and followed this thin rocky ridgeline out to this point. There's some good views east, which I haven't had yet, and of Terrapin Mountain. I'm pretty sure that's the summit up ahead. See if I can get a better view. Yeah, here we go. So the actual trail is down to my right, probably about 50 or 60 feet down the hill. You can't really get lost following this ridge line. You can see ahead. Pretty good view of the Radome or Radome on top of Apple Orchard. But I don't know all these plants, but this might be completely socked in by leaves in the spring and summer. But it's really easy to find, and the summit's pretty close now. I found these series of really giant boulders. I'd say maybe they're cliffs at this point. They're at least 30 feet high, and it has a nice view like this one. Maybe 20, 30 feet. Huge. Has a nice view looking northeast. Towards the James River face wilderness. And the Rocky Row area north of that. And right here is one of the fall summits I came up. I think so far there's been 3 fall summits. I keep thinking I'm at the top, but next thing you know, there's a taller peak behind that. A spur trail split off from the main trail and was a short but steep climb to the summit, which is up there through the trees. But the spur trail continued down beyond that to the south. Check this out. To this awesome rock pinnacle. Let's check this out. This is pretty great view. Nice 180-degree panorama looking east. I don't know what that little set of mountains are, but the rest of it's the foothills. And then we got due south, and first view of the Peaks of Otter. If I zoom in a little here, the sharpest one left of center is a sharp top, and then the more rounded one in front of that is Flat Top Mountain, and then this rounded peak I think is Head Foremost Mountain. And then just to the right, an excellent view of the Radome or Radome on Apple Orchard Mountain. I haven't hiked that yet, but I think it has some pretty great views. I'll zoom back out and then kind of trace the Blue Ridge Parkway, and then the view ends over here. The trail down has been quite pleasant towards Reed Creek. Usually I hate forest roads, but this one has been really level and not rocky at all. And this is a quite nice section. And as you can probably hear, Reed Creek is right below me. Can't really see it through the trees, but it's pretty narrow, but it's very loud. It sounds very turbulent. So there's a possibility I might be getting pretty wet if the rock hops are sketchy, because that is that's roaring. Finally made it down to Reed Creek, and yes, I do have to cross it. I imagine that this little sandy bar right here would probably be almost dry, but the creek is very swollen. Looks like I might have the opportunity to cross up here. where it narrows, but the boulders are going to be wet and slick. Hopefully I don't fall. I ended up getting wet on that crossing. It didn't seem very safe to try to cross on boulders because almost all of them were wet and most of them were considerable jumping distance apart. So got wet, water is freezing, but where the trail crosses, it's very calm, so it's safe. I made it to the turn where it turns left away from the main forest road, and now I have to cross this creek again. I might be able to boulder hop it right there, we'll see. So I got wet again on the second crossing. It's quite a bit wider and deeper than the first crossing, and I was probably in the water for a minute and my feet already were starting to go numb. They've been cold and wet ever since. Fortunately, the rest of the hike is on this very level forest road grade that instead of going up and over the ridges, it's hugging the eastern slopes of Terrapin Mountain and just winding in and out of coves. So it's staying flat just below 1,800 feet elevation. I think I only have about 2 more miles left, maybe 2.5 or 3, but at this rate, I'll be done in 30 or 40 minutes. I don't expect there's anything else to see on the rest of this trail, so I hope you enjoyed my hike to Terrapin Mountain and along Reed Creek, and check out some of my other videos in the future. Later. Just when I thought I wasn't going to see anything for the next couple miles, I come to this tributary and there's a waterfall just upstream, about 20 feet. I imagine it won't get much better than this because of all the recent rains the past week. In the summers could be dry, but for now it's a nice little waterfall. Pleasant surprise.